All right, it is time for a weather model discussion here for Monday, March the 6th. It's right around 3:35, by the way. William Cole here in the Storm Studio. Of course, this is our behind-the-scenes look at how we're putting together the forecast of the day. Not so much looking at the pretty graphics, but we're showing you the raw data that we've been kind of sifting throughout the afternoon and kind of giving you that behind-the-scenes look, or more in-depth look, if you will, at the forecast here for North Texas. We've got some weather changes on the way, so if you like the warm weather, if you like the sunny weather, I can tell you truly tomorrow things will begin to change, and we'll even begin to manifest some rain chances, especially by the time we get into Wednesday into Thursday. Of course, a reminder, this is something we really only put on our social media, right? So we're talking about Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. So if you are seeing it in one of those spots, if you will, be sure to give it a like, or feel free to leave a comment below as well. Okay, so let's go and dive into this. We truly do have a lot to talk about this afternoon. So number one, there's the live cam view, obviously looking at downtown Dallas, and again, it's another just very warm afternoon. In fact, temperatures out there are pushing the 80s. I'll show you Breckenridge. They're trying to push to 90 out in our western counties. The one thing you may notice more in the way of blue sky, there was a little bit of that high level wispy cirrus cloud cover around. On the visible satellite imagery, again, I'm also going to show you coming up, it's just off to our north. So again, regardless, it really wouldn't have impacted our weather much. It could have kind of gave us that filtered sunshine look today, made things look just a touch dimmer, but truly here in the Metroplex, it's blue sky, it's bright sunshine, and again, for another day in a row, our temperatures have taken off pretty dramatically. So here are temperatures around the area. And again, take a look out in Breckenridge, currently pushing 90 degrees. And again, one of the main reasons, out to the west, why the temperatures are just a little bit warmer than where you're seeing around the rest of the area, and the air mass is just drier. It's less humid. You can see in our eastern counties where the humidity, the dew point is a little bit deeper over there. Again, the temperatures are responding just a little bit slower. I mean, only by a couple degrees. I mean, 78 compared to 80, not really a big deal, but there is now more humidity arriving over there, and that will be the theme tonight and especially into tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a much more humid day around the area. Okay, let's go and jump into the raw data. I want to show you the satellite here. And this is just the visible satellite review. And again, this is just off of NextLab, right? We're using the raw data, not our stuff here specifically. And you can see moving from west to east, that wispy high-level cirrus cloud cover. So that's associated with the southern branch of the jet stream, right? Because it's way up in elevation. And so that's moving through from west to east. But again, you can see most of it really kind of shifted up into parts of Oklahoma. That's why we had it this morning. We don't have it now. In reality, it's really not that big of a deal. You can see there was a lot of low-grade cloud cover down along the coastal plains, even over into parts of the hill country, down around Austin and San Antonio as well. Most of that was morning stratus, low-grade cloud cover, but again, you can kind of see where it looks a little finer now, kind of like measles. That is even a little bit of cumulus cloud because of the humidity that is bubbling down there. So the bottom line, what you're seeing down there as far as the moisture content goes, even some of the bubbling convection with the cumulus cloud cover, that will spread to the north again overnight and tomorrow. And again, tomorrow will be, it won't necessarily be a completely cloudy day, but I think we may even start the morning with some stratus cloud cover around, and it's just going to be a grayer feel, and that's going to hold our temperatures down by a couple degrees. And then as we get into Wednesday, Thursday, bigger weather changes are on the way. Okay, let's go and switch over here to the Storm Prediction Center outlook. This is something we'll be doing now every time we do one of these, right? We're in our severe weather season, right? Starting March 1st all the way through June 15th, climatologically speaking, here in North Texas, that's when we at least have a focus of severe weather. We can get it any time of year. We can have it on January the 1st. We know that, but there's a focus for severe weather this time of year, and any opportunity of precipitation, we now have to do our due diligence and check off the list and make sure we're not dealing with any type of severe weather potential, right? So number one today, I mean, there's no chance of rain. So locally here, obviously, there's no opportunity of severe weather, and in fact, even around the nation, there's no real opportunity of severe weather. Now, as we get into tomorrow, okay, let's take a look at this here. You can see a little green box showing up. This is mainly up along our Red River counties up in Oklahoma. That's a marginal risk, meaning there could be one or two severe storms, right? So marginal, the way these risks, the way the categorical risk work, marginal, slight, enhanced, moderate, high, again, it's by number of severe storms possible. And marginal means maybe no severe storms or maybe one or two. But again, overall, the coverage of severe storms would be limited. The reason why you're seeing that showing up, that would be late in the day tomorrow, Tuesday, as a cold front from the north begins to arrive. And that's going to be weather piece of the puzzle number one. We'll have a cold front that stalls out, might even stall out right on Interstate 20 as we go over the next several days. And it'll be the focus of rain and storms, but it's also going to be a sharp temperature divide across North Texas, depending on what side of the front you're on. There could be a 20-degree variant in temperatures over the next couple days, really Wednesday into Thursday. Okay, so we're watching that. No real opportunity of an organized tornado threat. We're always obviously doing our due diligence for that. And this is mainly a hail-driven threat, right? Even the wind probabilities essentially non-existent. And so basically the Weather Service, really the Storm Prediction Center, saying that again, within that risk, that categorical risk, there could be some quarter-size hail, right? So in the grand scheme of things, pretty minimal, but even for late tomorrow, Tuesday, right? Something to watch for sure. Okay, let's go and skip this ahead in time. And this will now be for Wednesday. Similar story. It's basically where the front is. You can see it's kind of that elongated green box, right? So that's essentially where the front is most likely going to be. I can tell you right now, it's almost even a little hard to nail down where the front is. If the front is south of the Metroplex, which on Wednesday I think it will be, again, our temperatures will be a little bit cooler. If for some reason it's north, or for some reason it's sitting right over the Metroplex, I mean, you could have Denton, 20 degrees cooler than Dow, so it's just one of those things. It's going to be finite details. But again, if the front gets quite a bit further to the south, then it would be a bit of an easier forecast. But right now, it truly looks like, it's going to be draped across the area. And again, it's going to be a pretty big temperature spread. So again, the same thing here. Again, as we get out to day 3 there, the main concern would be an opportunity of hail, quarter-size hail with any activity. But again, still similar story. Could be no severe storms, but there's an outside opportunity of a couple of severe storms near the front on Wednesday. So again, something we'll be watching as we go through the day as well. But again, compared to what we had last Thursday, again, nothing like that, right? No real organized opportunity of severe weather. Okay, so from there, let's come over to the model data. This is really what we need to get to, right? And let me just make sure you can see it. We have 2 different zooms, and I think let me use the other zoom, I think, here for the model data. Let's see what we can do with this. Well, we didn't need to do all that, but I think this right here works, okay? So better view there. So what we're looking at here, this is the 500 millibar chart, vorticity. We talk about this one all the time if you've watched these segments. And this is the middle part of the atmosphere, right? 18,000 feet. And again, we're looking for troughs, right? Active weather, and we're looking for areas of spin embedded within those storm troughs. We're also looking for ridges, calmer weather, and typically a little bit more in the way of milder weather as well. And let's see, you know what we do not have? We had the telestrator, and I don't think we have it anymore. Let me see if I can pull this up really quick here. And if not, well, we'll just have to do one of these again without the telestrator. I apologize. We had that open. I think for some reason somebody closed that. Okay, so where I'm going with this is, can you see you can barely see the cursor on this because it's kind of white on white. But we're also in a way looking at the jet stream flow here as well. Truly, the jet stream is a little bit higher, but for semantics here, we'll just kind of use this. The jet stream is moving from west to east, right? This is a zonal pattern currently across the United States. Sometimes that can be a very progressive flow, meaning you get storm systems in and out and active weather potentially in and out fairly quickly as well. In this situation, not so much, because the storm we're going to be waiting on, it's way up in the Pacific Northwest. You can see the big dip, if you look at the cursor, the big dip up in the Pacific Northwest. And the newest data, and this really began yesterday and even through today now as well, the newest data is actually keeping that storm further and further to the north. Now, we're still going to have an opportunity of rain. There's still going to be enough lift in the area, and also associated with that front, that we're still going to have an opportunity of rain and storms around. But one of the main reasons why we're not truly anticipating more of an organized opportunity of severe weather, it's because that main storm is going to be displaced off to our north. Okay, remember about 2 weeks ago when Oklahoma had the big severe weather outbreak, and it's because, again, that storm just went right to our north. But this last Thursday, the storm moved right across North Texas, and again, we had the severe weather opportunity here. So this time of year, especially early season, placement of the storm system, the area of vorticity, the area of low pressure is truly paramount, right? Okay, so let me go and roll this into motion here. And you're watching that big dip off there to the Pacific Northwest. You can see it finally begins to move. And here swings off a little piece of energy. See that little dip coming out through parts of Kansas and Nebraska. It's trending even further to the north. So that's going to be by Thursday. There it is, swinging out. You can see it begin to kind of amplify, get a little bit stronger there. And there you go. You see it pulling through the Great Lakes region. So it's even kind of wimpy, truly, when it comes out through the Central Plains. It intensifies as it gets over into the Great Lakes region and then up into the northeast, right? So behind it, you can see there's a bit of a bump, right? There's a bit of a ridging pattern. This is really when I wish I had the telestrator, but watch the cursor. See how it goes up? So there's a bit of a ridging pattern. So that's going to be as we head into this upcoming weekend. So some quieter weather, the way it looks there, okay? So let's go and pick up on this again. We'll just keep going forward in time. After that, we're still kind of in this progressive zonal flow, but there's no real major storm system coming through. You can see another storm up in the northern tier, right, well up to our north. And there's a bit, there's an ever so slight trough that does move through parts of North Texas, and it will give us a very slim rain chance early next week. In fact, for Monday, I'll show you that coming up. But the main storm truly stays off toward north. Then you see a pretty decent long wave troughing pattern, right? Big dip through most of the east coast of the United States. That'll be some cooler weather over there. And then again, for us back home, look at that big, again, you see the big ridge out in the Intermountain West, again, where look at the little black lines, how they begin to go up, right? So that's calmer weather. So I mean, we're going to have a couple additional kind of low-end rain chances by early parts of next week. But after that, it's a more of a calmer pattern. You can see this is day 10. This is the end range of where this data goes through. The ridge is essentially centered over us, so the temperatures will begin to moderate. But you can see out on the west coast, here comes another Pacific storm in. And at some point as we go through next week, that will also be inbound with an opportunity of some active weather as well. Okay, so, you know, for the beginning of March, not an overly crazy pattern. Sometimes the pattern can get pretty active right away in March, and we're not seeing that. Okay, so let's look at the 850 millibar chart. Again, this is just above the surface, but this time of year we truly use this for air mass change, right? We're watching the Arctic air to the north. Well, truly the Arctic air is still bottled up in Canada, right? We've got some pretty chilly Canadian air in the northern tier, but we're going to watch air mass movement within those troughs. Okay, so let me go and just kind of speed you through time. And in fact, let me go and turn this on so it preloads this up. And I'll go and walk you through the next 10 days. So here comes our first storm system, right? And again, you can see there's some cooler air with it, with that front that comes in, but there's no real air mass change, right? So again, like I mentioned, the temperatures will fluctuate around the area, again, depending on what side of the front you're on, but there's no blast of chilly air with this whatsoever, okay? So then as that trough, you see it there, it pulls over into the Great Lakes region and then over into the northeast. You have more of a longer wave trough. And notice how parts of the southeast, you see a little more blue, a little more green. They're going to be cooler over there, right? It's still not just a huge blast of Arctic air. None of that is showing up. Notice the kind of the milky white and the pink. The Arctic air is now backed way up into far northern Canada. So we've got a lot of blue Canadian air up in Canada, but the Arctic air is not even at the border, right? Not even at the U.S.-Canadian border. Okay, so let's go forward in time. And as we do that, that next storm you can see by early next week, right? By early next week around Monday, even though the main storm stays off to the north that we were talking about and also moves through the Great Lakes region, it is going to push a cold front down into our area. We're going from yellow to green, but again, there's no real air mass change, right? We'll cool down some, and we'll put numbers with this when we forecast. I say this all the time because sometimes it sounds so elementary that we're saying we're going from yellow to green, and people are like, oh, well, that's how they get the forecast. No, we use real numbers, but this is just to visualize and kind of give us a concept of what the forecast is doing, and that's all we're doing now. So so we'll put numbers with it coming up. So again, I mean, it's a mini cool down, right? I mean, it's not that's not really a big deal. You can see parts of the northeast as we get deeper into this, right? With that storm trough over there, the northeast part of the mid-Atlantic, there's a pretty decent chill down there. Still Canadian air, that's not necessarily Arctic air. And so, you know, one of the things to really think about, you know, the Climate Prediction Center, I know everyone last week was talking about it, so were we. You know, they put out their 14-day outlook, and some of the data had developed that same trough we're seeing now much deeper and further back to the west, and it looked like there was going to be a pretty big outbreak of colder weather and well below normal temperatures. Truly, across, you know, a good half of the United States. We're still kind of seeing that in the model data, but this is basically confined. You see it right there, confined, you know, to the northeast, right? In fact, there's our ridge. So while they're really getting chilly up there with Canadian air, look at our ridge building in. We're going from green to yellow to red. So even though they had us well below normal as well, I mean, it's not necessarily materializing, right? In fact, still the Arctic air, still you see it bottled. It went well north. I mean, for this time of year, that is well to the north, up into far northern Canada, and truly even back up into the Arctic, honestly. So, you know, so whenever we talk about those extended range outlooks, and they do the best they can. I mean, those guys at the Climate Prediction Center, I mean, they're the best of the best at forecasting that stuff, but they still forecast it off of model data, right? And so sometimes it is what it is. But now we're kind of getting into the operational range of the model data, right? The Euro out 10 days. At day 10, it's never 100% accurate. We all understand that. But can you get a pretty decent idea of what's going on? To be honest with you, you really can. So we're not, for us locally, we're not seeing that big blast of chilly weather, okay, the way it looks right now. In the middle part of March, that again, everyone's kind of been talking about. Again, we've been talking about it too, just because that's what all the signs were. But it's not, for us, I mean, we've got maybe one cool down, right? Okay, let's go ahead and look at precip, and then we got to keep this thing rolling. And we're going to come back and look at the high res. In fact, let's look at the high res data here first. The high res data only goes out 48 hours, okay? So our rain event that we have coming on, this is only going to give us a small snapshot of what, I mean, we don't have high res data through the entire event yet, okay? It will come within range as we get into tomorrow, and more so obviously even as we get into Wednesday, as we look at Wednesday and a Thursday. But right now we're just kind of on the cusp of the data, of the high res data coming in. So with that in mind, so we'll have to, for the second part of this, we'll have to look at some other data. We'll have to go back to a global model to kind of look at it, okay? If that makes sense, and a global model is not high res. This is a future radar depiction. The global model just kind of gives us a signal of who may see rain, okay? So as we go forward in time, again, here's today, tonight, again, nothing's going on, right? We're quiet. The humidity does begin to build in overnight. And then as we go through tomorrow daylight hours look pretty quiet, but as we get into tomorrow evening, you'll see a few showers are possible. You can see the front up in Oklahoma late tomorrow begins to light up with some thunderstorm activity. Notice this set of data is further to the north, right? Even the Storm Prediction Center outlook, you know, kind of the general thinking was this will be closer to the Red River Valley. This is by about 4 p.m. tomorrow. The front is still way up in Oklahoma. Okay, so that's an important detail. Where's that front going to be? That plays into our entire forecast over the next several days. Okay, so as we roll this into motion, there it is. You can see it moving with that complex of storms, getting a little bit closer to the Red River Valley. That'll be by 6 a.m. Wednesday morning. Let me go and walk you through Wednesday. You can see Wednesday morning there could be a dying mini complex of storms that at least approaches the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That would be Wednesday morning. And then there's the front on Wednesday, again, still, you know, basically up there along the Red River Valley. Okay, so it appears as though right now with this specific set of data, the front is maybe trending a little bit further to the north. Typically, once you get some thunderstorm activity, even a push of some rain-cooled air, it'll help to kind of energize that front a little bit further to the south. Okay, so I'm not totally buying into that. Right now we're going to kind of keep our forecast on schedule, but there is one little blip here showing that, hey, maybe the front's a little bit further to the north, right? So that's a blip that we got to look at. We'll also look here. This is the NAM, the 3K, the 3 kilometer data of the NAM as well. And this will take us out about 60 hours. Sometimes with precip, I'm just going to warn you, this is a little overdone, but a lot of times with boundaries, talking about cold fronts and things like that, in this situation, we're going to be dealing with a cold front. It's pretty good, and it's pretty good with air mass location, okay? Like even if you're dealing with wintry weather and you're wondering, are we going to see snow? Are we going to see a cold rain? Are we going to see freezing rain? Air mass location and boundary positioning, this model is good at. Everything else with this model, you got to take it with a grain of salt, and you got to take the precip with this model with a grain of salt as well. Okay, so I'm just throwing that out there, a bit of an asterisk. But I wasn't even going to show this one, but I'm going to show it now just so we can maybe get a better idea of what this is showing. This is high res. This is also a future radar depiction. But like I said, if you ever look at the 3K NAM, again, using the future radar, if you're just doing it yourself on the models, never bet the house on this, okay, on this future radar depiction, okay. So there we go. So there's the NAM. This will be by early Wednesday morning. And so the NAM's still a little bit slower with the front as well. So, I mean, you know, if the Storm Prediction Center probably tonight at midnight, they'll probably shift that marginal risk probably a little bit further off to the north if they feel like they even need to continue a risk, right? So there is a bit of a northerly trend here, not a big deal. And then as we get into Wednesday, again, just using where the thunderstorm activity is, right? That's kind of a baseline of where that front's going to be. We don't, in this situation, we don't even need to look at the winds. I've already done all that. So here it is as we go through Wednesday. It's basically got the front right at the Red River Valley, okay? It doesn't really do much as far as precip in the morning. You can see the front kind of there in our northwestern counties. And it doesn't really do much for precip even through Wednesday. And I, to be honest, I kind of figured this one was going to go gangbusters because a lot of times it does. So the rain probability on Wednesday, I've got a 40% opportunity. I think there's going to be some scattered activity around. Again, you see it even with the other data coming in. This is not a wall of water on Wednesday. It's really not. I think Wednesday night into Thursday may be our best opportunity of rain. Okay, so let's switch over. This is the Euro. So now we're going again from a future radar depiction back over to a global model, right? And again, this is just giving us signals within a 6-hour snapshot of who may see rain, right? Because we're outside of that window of truly where the good high res data is. Okay, so let me kind of fast forward in time. This right here again would be early Wednesday morning. Okay. And similar, kind of similar to what we've been seeing. And then it brings the front on through as we go through Wednesday. You can see essentially the front right there near the Metroplex. And there's the front kind of stalling. So the front, I mean, truly with the newest data coming in, the front is stalling at or just to the south of the Metroplex. So I've got for Wednesday, I've lowered our high temperature to right around 65, right? Some of the data, like the blended models, for example, still has us at 78. It's saying that the front's going to be to our north. It's going to stall to our north. This data, I mean, it's cutting right through the Metroplex. I have a feeling with the rain and storms, again, it typically gives the fronts just a little extra boost to get a little bit further to the south. So I think we'll be on the back side of it. I think we'll primarily on Wednesday be in the 60s, but again, you can see that opportunity of some scattered showers, maybe a few rumbles of thunder with the front, okay? Then as we go forward in time, there it is. It lifts back to the north on Thursday. So it begins to lift back to the north. And then as that big storm begins to pull out through the northern tier, remember we talked about, it'll get an energizing push back down to the south. So here it is. I mean, we call this kind of a whipsaw forecast, right? The front's kind of whipsawing back and forth, but here it goes. Now back down to the south as a cold front, and there it is on Thursday with that storm even to our north with the extra lift. I think Thursday is going to be our best opportunity of rain, and then there it is clearing out very early Friday morning. Okay, so that's the way it looks to me. So not a big change on the forecast, but Wednesday the temperatures could be a little dicey, right? Right now we have a 65. We may have to change that to the 70s for the Metroplex, or we may have to even lower it by a couple degrees if the front's further to the south. That Wednesday temperature is just not locked in whatsoever. I think the rain probability is Wednesday at 40%. I mean, it's kind of a catch-all, right? I mean, we may have to fine-tune that down to like 30 as we get into the high-res data if it really just doesn't look like there's going to be a lot on Wednesday. But right now, we'll keep it Wednesday night into Thursday. Again, I think appears to be the prime time opportunity of rain here in the Metroplex, specifically in the Metroplex. Okay, so then going forward in time, our next opportunity of some showery activity could be on Sunday. I mean, there is a storm off to our north. We're kind of in a ridging pattern, so that typically acts to suppress anything whatsoever. There's that next storm, again, well off to our north on Monday. That pushes another front into the area. Again, could be, you see, I mean, a couple weak signals there of some showers. I've got a 20% opportunity. Doesn't look like anything major. Then after that, we have another ridging pattern build in. We're quiet, but we have that storm system out to the west that at some point in 11, 12, 13 days will have to come on out, okay? So, I mean, you know, in the near term, over the next couple of days, the forecast is pretty interesting. After that, there's not a lot going on. Okay, so here's a look. This is what the blend of models, right? So this takes all the different models, blends it together, including the high-res data initially, and spits out these numbers. Okay, so the colors we were looking at earlier, now we put some numbers with it. But here's the problem. On Wednesday, it still has us at 78. And so the Euro appears to be pushing that front further to the south. I think there's probably a better opportunity. It's just to our south. So Wednesday, even though it's saying 78, we're just kind of blending that out right now to around 65. Okay. I think as the front lifts back to the north on Thursday as a warm front, we're back to around 78. Then it comes through one more time, again with the storm to the north as a cold front. And then you can see on Friday, we turn a little bit cooler down to 64, right? Then we warm back up for the weekend. Again, there's that ridging pattern we were talking about. And then here comes that next storm well off to the north, but it pushes that little weak front into our area. It knocks us truly back to normal, right back into the mid 60s, not really a big deal. And then again, you can see the temperatures begin to rebound as that next ridge builds in. And that's where we leave off on day 10. Again, we have a storm out to the west, but again, by day 11, it's not going to be here, right? So, I mean, we know it's probably 12, 13 days on down the road, or it could stall out there to the west. We don't have data to support exactly what's going to happen with that one quite yet, but we know there's going to be something out there. So it's an interesting pattern. I mean, we've got something going on in the near term, right? We're going to have an opportunity of rain, but the forecast, you know, if you call it your confidence in your forecast, it's pretty low at this point, right? Because we're getting some signals there's going to be some rain and storms, but then as we get into the high-res data, it doesn't look that promising where we are now, right? We're not into that Wednesday night, Thursday, where we still think we have the best opportunity. And then, you know, again, we've still got Wednesday where what side of the front are we on? Are we truly going to be on the back side of the front? Are we going to, you know, be a little bit cooler, or are we forecasting, you know, a busted temperature by about 13 degrees and we could actually be, you know, 78 on Wednesday? So there's a lot going into that, obviously. And then, you know, as we get deeper into the extended, really, things begin to quiet out, right? We just have some up and down temperatures and maybe that next storm on down the road. So, and maybe some good news for some folks. Again, the big, huge mid-March cool down that, again, everyone's been talking about. Again, we've showed the same data from the CPC, Climate Prediction Center, as well. At least for us, does not really appear to be materializing, right? So that would be good. I mean, we don't necessarily want a big blast of cold air in March. Not saying we're done with it. Again, if you're about to plant and do things like that, that's still not the green light, right? You really still need to give all the way through March. We know we can still have some late season spells, but that significant one does not appear to be manifesting right now. So that's where we are, folks. Again, a lot to cover today. Like I mentioned, this is just our behind the scenes look at everything. Feel free to give us a like below. Again, we only put this on our social media, but again, thanks for checking it out. And of course, you know, download our free mobile app. If for any reason you have not done that, we'll take a look at this graphic here. Again, it's for free. Apple iTunes Store, Google Play Store. You can watch our live channel on there. And of course, as always, you can watch our normal live channel on Roku, Apple, and Amazon Fire TV. So otherwise, thanks for checking this out. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. And again, we'll be talking to you on the channel, and we'll do another one of these tomorrow as well.